President Obama's inability to access and assess the situation in Russia and much of the Middle East on display. His administration now major shift of foreign policy from Russia concerning the Syrian civil war, a conflict in which the effects are being felt all across the region and into Europe. Correspondent Kevin Corke fills us in from the White House.
The world pays attention to what we say and what we do.
President Obama's remarks on Capitol Hill today clearly reflect his concern for the way the world views our current, some might even say bruising, political climate. What's less clear, however, is how concerned the commander-in-chief is about the perception of America's role in Syria, especially in the wake of Russia's announced military drawdown there.
I believe that the goal set out to the Ministry of Defense and the armed forces has in large part been fulfilled.
Putin was able to shore up the Assad regime, ensuring that he maintains power until another Russia-friendly leader takes his place. And critics say he did so all while expanding Russian influence in the region, filling a power vacuum created by the administration's wanting approach to the conflict.
The opposition was gaining on them from the north, the south, and the east, and the Russian intervention reversed that.
That the Russians were able to muscle their way to achieving their objectives has rankled some GOP lawmakers on Capitol Hill. Arizona Senator John McCain saying in a statement, quote, the administration consoled itself with the mantra of there is no military solution, rather than facing the reality that there is a clear military dimension to any political solution in Syria. But why are the Russians getting out now? Experts say Russia's sagging economy and lower oil prices are a factor. Also, the war is fairly unpopular there. And perhaps most importantly, it gives the Russians the appearance of trying to improve relations with the West, even if they stepped on President Obama's objectives to get there.
Clearly, now that we're moving into the phase of political negotiations about what the shape of Syria will look like in the future, Russia will have a seat at the table.
Meanwhile, Secretary of State John Kerry, who today welcomed the Georgian foreign minister to the State Department, called Russia's latest move an important step in the process toward peace.
This is a moment to seize, not waste. We have at this moment the ability to finally take a step towards ending this war and the bloodshed.
Brett, we also learned today from Secretary Kerry that he intends to travel to Moscow sometime next week, at which point it's expected he'll discuss with his counterpart the cessation of hostilities as well as the ongoing political transition there, Brett.
And Kevin, more fallout from the president's interview in The Atlantic. President Obama described Saudi Arabia as a free rider on American foreign policy and then criticized what he saw as Riyadh's funding of religious intolerance. What's the reaction from the kingdom?
Well, as you can well imagine, it was swift and unambiguous. No, Mr. President, we're not free riders. And that comes from a fairly interesting figure, a former Washington ambassador, Prince Turki Al-Faisal, saying in an open letter to the president, listen, the Saudis have done their part. They have been very active in supporting not only the Syrian refugee humanitarian crisis, they're giving as much as they could. They've been very instrumental in helping the Syrian rebels battle ISIS, and so they feel like, Brett, they've done their fair share.
Kevin Corke live on the North Lawn. Kevin, thanks.